Well, here it is, the new Cabela's Pro Series elliptical pellet grill. It's a heck of a grill, folks, but kind of a pain to build. So you're probably here trying to find help on how to build certain things of it, because there's some steps in here that are kind of strange compared to other grills. Congratulations, you finally found the right place. I build dozens of these things all the time, so trust me, I can help you out. All right, so first things being first, you're going to need some stuff before you even start. You're going to need a bunch of tools, some sort of scissors or tin snips, a couple of screwdrivers, Phillips heads, one big, one small, Allen wrenches, maybe, I can't remember what we have in this case, a knife of some sort, and a flashlight. Yes, a flashlight. It's all black on black inside this thing. It's hard to see what you're doing, so you need a flashlight. A frosty beverage, and some groovy tunes. Once you got all that stuff covered, you're good to go. All right, next you look at the box. Now, a lot of people think, well, I'll just cut the straps off and set the box open. No. What you want to do is get your straps off first, like I just did there, snap. All right, then lift the box up. And then flip it over, and that becomes your trash catcher. You can put like a little miniature trash can, you know. If you open up the top across it there, you're just going to ruin that possible use. All right, so let's get to it. There's a bunch of stuff you need to know just how to unpack. Actually, it takes like 10 minutes to unpack the thing from the crate. It's really crazy, but we'll see. I'll show you. Pause the button. Yeah, I guess that is. All right, so the lid just comes right off, straight like this. Flip it over. Bada bing. Now you got a place to put your trash. And there's going to be so much trash. They really pack these things like crazy. Okay, you'll want to save a certain piece of it, though. It's this piece. There you go. Right here, the one with a notch in it. Yeah, hang on to this one. It's useful. All right. And you'll see all the stuff in here. You got cardboard, plastic wrap, styrofoam. Oh man, the styrofoam. In fact, I forgot to mention one thing. You're going to need a vacuum cleaner with a hose attachment. Or maybe a, ain't that pretty, a dust buster, or even a woodworker's tack cloth. And the reason is, the styrofoam that it's packed in, come here you, is this super light, fluffy, ultra crumbly kind that leaves little bits of styrofoam everywhere. It'll drive you nuts if you don't have a way to get rid of it, because it sticks to the metal from the stack. Ugh. All right, usually I keep another trash can handy just for that stuff separate. I got recycling, you know. All right, so as you can see, it's not round. It's actually elliptoid, see? And even though it's sitting straight up, it leans back like that. Now that's important because later you'll see the little screw holes where the legs go. They don't match up. On pretty much every other grill in the world, there are nice straight lines, but not here. On this one, the legs are all different lengths. That's right. Each leg has to go in the right place, or you're going to have a big scrambled mess of legs that don't match in height, and it'll drive you nuts. So pay attention when you put the legs on. The row of screws on the back side is higher than the row of screws on the front side. See? So you need the longer legs to go on the back than on the front. Make sense? Good. Okay. So I'm going to skip ahead here. You don't need to see me unpack all this silly stuff from inside. So I'll just put a pause here and I'll be right back. By the way, it helps to have a lot of room to work, and preferably something you can lean this thing up against while you're working on the upside down part. Putting the legs on while it's upside down or on the end is a lot easier than trying to do it when it's upside out, let me tell you. And it likes to also help. It's also helpful to have lots of places to put things. There's a lot of parts here, see, and you want to spread them out where you can find them, and don't step on them and don't lose them, etc. So forth. Oh, I almost forgot. The other thing you're going to need, very important, is a helper. This thing is heavy, and you got to move it around and flip it over and stuff like that, and it takes two guys. Remember when I said to save that part? There's two ways you can do this. You can either stand it up on that end, which uses that thing as a brace because it's got the hole in it for the grease drain, see? Or you can stand it on this end. A little trickier because that handle. You'll need two of these pieces. But it does make putting that little side shelf a heck of a lot easier on, because see these little flanges they got in there? Well, I guess you can't. But it's really hard to get a screwdriver up in this thing when you need one. It's going to mount onto those 5 little screws right there. See those 5 screws? And there's 5 holes in this thing, on the shelf that is. When it's sitting up like that, so you got to get up under it, well, it's a pain. It's a lot easier to put on when it's upside down and you work from the top. So in that case, instead of standing it up on end on that piece, you stand it up on 2 of those little pieces there, see? All right, so there's that. And as you can see, maybe, I don't know, I'm starting to get stuff scattered all around all over the place because there's lots of parts. Box of trash is filling up nicely. Box of trash. I have to put my cardboard separately because I mashed it to compact it later. But all right, that's enough of that. Let me get back to this. Be right back. Every little part is packed individually. It's kind of annoying when you're trying to clean this mess up. But they really overpack it like crazy, which is good. I mean, you want your stuff to be good and safe, but it does make for a heck of a, a lot of unpacking. Seriously, it's going to take about 10 minutes to unpack this stuff. That's all, just before you can get started building it. Just a little heads up for you there. Okay, here's the legs. I got them all unpacked. Remember what I said about them being different lengths? So you can see I got them all lined up straight on the front. But here, well, none of them match at all. It's a little strange because see, on the back side of this thing, even the individual rows of screw holes don't match up. So yeah, it's a bit of a headache, but you got to really watch where you're putting the legs to make sure they all go where they're supposed to go. Now this is a 36-inch one, the big one. You only have one kind of leg, straight leg with a little axle goes through. As you can see here, some legs will have wheels that screw in from the bottom, and some have an axle in the big wheels. So if you pay attention, you'll see that there's a handle, right? See a handle right there? Yeah, on the opposite side of where the handle goes, that's where the legs with the big wheels, with the axles go. And the shorter ones go on the handle end. Almost done. Woohoo! There's a lot of stuff. And finally, voila! It's empty. As you can see, like I said, all this little styrofoam bits everywhere. You'll need a way to get rid of those. You want to get rid of them too, because if you fire this thing out with those still in there, they're going to melt, they're going to smoke, they're going to stink, and everything's going to be a disaster. That's not good, so get them out. Oh, by the way, this was completely empty when I started. Now look at it. That is a lot of stuff that's just packing material in this box. That's why it takes so long, and it's really aggravating, but oh well. So make sure you have a trash can or use your box. Depends if you want to sort it out or not. All right. All right, now one of the boxes, you know, the heavy one, this is where all your little parts are, your wheels and your nuts and bolts and screws and whatnot. They'll be in this box. And I guess now it's going to get time to start the fun part, opening that box. All right, so let's get to it. Dun, dun, dun. It's like Christmas morning. Woohoo! Santa, what'd you bring me? A grill, son. I hope you've been bad. All right. So. And voila. All right. So what here you have? You've got the bottom shelf piece, and inside the bottom shelf piece, you got your handles, your wheels, your. I'll get this little guy later. It's a fun little thing. Well, I'll show you later. It's cool. All right, and voila, the parts. Okay, so also in the box you'll find the instruction sheet right there, and oh, I almost forgot. This is very important. Okay, now Cabela grills have their own serial numbers now. They used to not, but now they do. So somewhere on the box itself, it's the only place you're going to find it, is the serial number. So you see the UPC code that they scan, but right above it, on this white label here, that's the serial number. You need to save that. There, see? Piece of cake. Just save this because you'll need it later when you want to register your product. Okay, decision time. You got to stand it up on one end to get the legs on. You can stand it up on this end like you're supposed to, using that piece right there. But then it's a lot harder to put the shelf back on later once you got it standing up. Or if you feel froggy and you want to hop, you can use this piece and that piece right there like that, and then stand it up on this end, which makes the shelf putting on a heck of a lot easier. The trick is standing it up on this end is a lot harder in the first place. Here we go. Okay, I decided to stand it up on the harder end to stand, but easier end to put the shelf on. What can I tell you? All right, so now, if you pay attention, you'll see that on one end, there's only 3 little screw holes. On the other, there are 4. Now, the legs all have 4, so that's no help at all on figuring out which leg goes where. That's because they use different colors. Never mind why. But anyway, now the fun part is some of the screws go in from the outside, going in, and some you got to put in from the inside, coming back out, which is why you need a flashlight. Because as you can see, it's dark in there. It's all black. The screws are black too. And trust me, it's hard to see what you're doing unless you have a flashlight, I mean. So have a flashlight handy, and we're good to go. All right, hang on. Let me get the flashlight and the stuffs. All right. Flashlight. Screwdriver. Other screwdriver, because I can't remember which side it is. And the parts. Dun, dun. Now, this is inherently dangerous to stand it on this end instead of the other, but I'm a professional, I'm going to tell you. All right, so find the old instruction book here, and it tells you in the instruction book in about 4 or 5 different languages. So you find out what you. Here we go. Oh, for Pete's sake, open up. You. Yes, English. I'm in English. All right. All right. You're going to want to. All right. You're going to need the little screws marked A. Screws A, lock washer C, and washer B. They're all right beside each other on the part cart. So, you can see they're cleanly marked. A and B and C. Well, whatever. Now, it's pretty simple stuff here. You just got some, screws and washers and lock washers, right? Now, there's a certain order they have to go in. I'll tell you that. Uh-oh. All right, this is the problem I was worried about. It's wanting to fall over. Hang on, let me brace that a little bit. Be right back. There, simple enough. Just an extra little piece of cardboard that goes up under the lid itself on a hopper. And now it's labeled safe as Gibraltar. Yay! All right, let me just open up this thing here. Another word of advice. Only open up the ones that you need right then. Don't open them all up, because sure as you're born, this thing's going to fall over. You're going to spill this, parts everywhere. Now what? Just only use the ones you're supposed to use. And a magnetic screwdriver helps a whole lot, by the way, because it's kind of hard to reach in there and grab the stuff you need. Just, boom, grab a few and you're done. Now, you got 2 with 3 and 2 with 4. So, yeah, just do one leg at a time. Come on. All right, so grab some of these little guys. Oh, sorry. I'm not a videographer, obviously. I'm just a guy with a phone, so sorry about that. All right.
Smoky Joe right here.
Okay.
He's actually making, you're manufacturing this, right?
Now you take little spring washers, these little guys with a split in it, and that goes on the screw itself. And then the washer goes on like that. Always it's hard to do when you look through a camera. All right, now that's important. The little spring washer's job is to exert a lot of force that keeps it from unscrewing itself later. So once you got it good and tight, it'll hold.
A tutorial.
Puzzle co-workers. Yes, a tutorial on how to build this. Believe it or not, there's nothing on YouTube about how to build these.
I'm gonna be on YouTube.
Congratulations, you're on YouTube.
On YouTube now.
Hey,
You're an amazing dude, right? Is it a pellet grill?
it's a pellet grill. Yeah.
So what does this little baby run? Probably 200, 300? 1,000, right?
I forget. It's up there. This is the big one. It's around 6 or
It's a
7.
nice
All right. So anyway, back to where we were. All right. So as you see, the ones that have, I don't know if you can see this. A lot of these screw holes are going to have these self-locking sockets, you see? So you don't need to put a nut on the other side. It actually is a nut. It's a hole and a nut built together. It's very handy. All right, so now I've got to find which leg goes on here. All right, so I am looking at the front. So this is the front leg. It's a short leg. But which short leg? All right. So as you can see, they're different. So I can grab both legs. Now, if you look at the instructions, there's a picture in there that kind of sort of shows you where they go. But, yeah. All right, so the easiest way to tell is when you put the screw holes up to the leg, you know it's going to go like this, right? Because it has to go like that. So only one way will it go, theoretically. What's wrong with this picture? All right, this could be the wrong leg. Simple. All right, so since I didn't want to go, I grab the other one. And aha, see? Now I've got my 2 little screw holes there, and those 2 line up right there. Bada bing. And that little hole there matches up to that nut socket on the inside. So now we figured out where that one goes, and I'll do it right now. Hold on. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it or not. I'm going to see if it works this time. When you tighten it up, oh nuts, didn't work then. Sometimes you get a little tongue noise when the spring washer straightens out. That lets you know it's in there. But basically, just put it in as hand tight as you can get it. Now, the metal these screws are made out of isn't the strongest metal. And if you try and push too hard, you can strip the heads out. So don't do that. Just go about as hand tight as you can get it without overblowing it there. See? Okay. So, now we got 2 screws on, but not all 3. Now it's with flashlight time. All right, this particular flashlight's pretty handy because it's a tripod too. I just pop the legs off there and... All right. Then I can stand it up. Hustly. And see what I'm doing. Point it. Now, see what I mean? It's really dark in here. But now, aha! Now I can see. Blast and thunder vision. It helps, by the way, to have a wide open space to build things in of some sort. Don't do this on the grass in your lawn. Don't do this in a garage full of junk and stuff everywhere, because you are going to drop things and they are going to bounce and you are going to lose them if you don't have a nice wide open space to find them. I'm just letting you know. All right. So, all right, I'm screwing a hole in it. Screwing a screw. It's not that cinematic to watch, but all right, boom. Let me tighten this up. Hang on. Okay, this leads me to another helpful hint. Don't tighten things up too much, too quick, because you want to leave yourself a little wiggle room sometimes to get little holes to line up right. I tightened this one up too much, and now I'm having trouble getting that one in, so I got to loosen this leg back up just a little bit, then I can get that screw hole in. You'll probably want to do that a lot. And when you're trying to put the shelf on, underneath the legs that holds the legs together, you're definitely going to run into some problems there. But there's nothing a little brute force can't solve. I am such an idiot. Okay, I have put the short legs on the wrong end. This is where the long legs go. The whole pattern matches, but I'm looking at the wrong end because I usually flip the other way, so I flip this way instead. And this is where the shelf goes, which means the handle's on the other side, which means the long legs with the big wheels goes on this end. My mistake. Sorry about that. Don't make my mistake. Again, it's pretty easy to screw these up, so watch what you're doing. Luckily, I only got to undo this one. Okay, now that's right. All right, now I'm not going to edit all that mistake out. It's important that you know that even experts can mess up sometimes. I've built hundreds of these grills, not on this particular model, but you know, look around. I do grills all the time. Grills. You see the ones out front. So anyway, probably 400 grills by now, I guess, easy. Yeah, I've only done a few dozen of these. And even after doing a few dozen of them, it's still hard to get them right sometimes. But here we go. All right, now, I got the right kind of leg on there, but do I have the right leg on there? The answer is yes, and here's why. If you look, you'll see that this one is much longer. That's my headpiece there. All right, now, since the screw holes are much higher on the back side than on the front side, when I take this longer leg and put it on the back side, it'll even out. See, there's the holes it goes into. So when I put that one where it belongs, ta-da, they more or less match. So that's how you do it. Just remember the longer legs go on the side with this thing, the grease chute. And the shorter legs go on the other side where the pellet hopper is. And then the longer leg on both sides goes to the back, and the shorter leg goes to the front. Again, spring washer goes on first, then the flat washer. That holds true on all things in life, by the way, because that's what spring washers do. They exert force between the two so strongly that it can't just work itself loose. Okay, that's kind of on, but not totally tight. Still a little wiggly. Gives me wiggle room to put this screw in. All right. So, once again, can't see a dang thing back there. So I'll just turn my flashlight around. Let there be light. And there was light, and it was all right. Now I can see. And that goes right in there. Bada bing. Okay, put this down. Okay, the first two legs are on. And as you can see, they match. If you should put your legs on and see that they don't match in length, I mean, then you know you've screwed up somewhere royally and need to go back and figure out what went wrong. But if you pay attention, real close attention to what you're doing, you won't have that problem. Now, these holes right here, see these? These are where the axles go for the big wheels. So make sure that these axle wheels go on the end with this. Very important. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put the other legs on and skip ahead there. You've just seen what happened, so it's kind of boring, so I'll be right back. Okay, one thing important. All right, so axle wielded ones go on that end. And the ones that have the little hole in the bottom where the wheel screws in here goes on the hopper end. See with the hopper? All right. You'll also notice that if you put the legs on right, there's this little brass thing. It's at a 45-degree angle pointing towards the inside. 45-degree angle going that way. 45-degree angle going that way. Those are the nuts that hold the shelf on. So when you got it right, they'll all be pointing, towards the middle. All right. Also, the big legs only have 3 nuts in them on this particular model, while the shorter legs up front have 4. That's because the weight of the hopper is pretty darn heavy when it's full. Heck, it's heavy when it's empty. So you want the extra screw in there for support. So remember, if it has, on the hopper end, it has 4, and there's only 3 on the far away end. Thank you, Captain Obvious. All right, here we go. Okay, so now all 4 legs are on, and they all match, and they're all good and tight. Everything's dandy. Now, you might notice that those legs and those legs are not the same height. Don't panic. Different kind of wheels, you see. It'll level out when you put the different kind of wheels on. All right, so, all right, I guess next comes the shelf. Okay, here we are trying to put the shelf on. Now, no matter how straight you got the legs and how perfect they are on there and how well you think you've done, they're still going to be off. Not your fault. It's just the way of the world. Just a 1 degree off here or there and adds up. So, what you want to do is make sure your shelf is flat side up, hollow side down. And you see these little indentations here? They match the legs, right? And those little brass things I told you about a while ago, they match up with these holes. And then the fun part, getting the legs and the thing to match up. And I can't do that with, wait, hold on. Pause the city. Okay, so all we have to do is like grab the legs, and pull them out a little bit until we get the thing to line up. Now, see, we got the little holes, and they're lined up where they're supposed to be, more or less. Now, I just put the screws back in. Same screws I've been using. These little A screws with the B and C washers. And voila, the shelf is on. All the little holes are lined up. Everything's good. Everything's dandy. All right, now the side shelf. No, actually the wheels. Let's do the wheels first. Okay, now the axles for the big wheels are these big boys right here. The one marked F. See those? And you'll also need those locking those self-locking nuts. You'll need those and those. Oh, right, and these big washers here. Washers E. Okay, now putting the washers on, this is where it gets kind of tricky, because it doesn't look like it's supposed to go this way, but it does. All right, so check this out. This bolt has this indentation in it right here, see? And it won't go all the way through if you put the washer on first. Intuitively, you want to put the washer right there, like you do on pretty much every other wheel in the world, and then put that on there, bada bing. But that bolt won't go through all the way there, and you won't have enough room. So what you gotta do is just put that through. Oh, it's hard. Okay, here we go. And that goes all the way through then, see? Now, check this out. As you see the bolt is skinny, and the fat end of the bolt will go all the way through the wheel and into the end. All right. Then your first washer goes on. Boom. All right. Now, the wheels will mount towards the outside. The outside. So it goes through there, and it comes in through there. Now you got a washer, see? Between the wheel and the leg. Sorry for the focus. But yeah, there's a washer now between the wheel and the leg, which is where it's supposed to be. All right. Then take the other washer and put it over here on this end. And then your locking nut goes here. Now you'll need a pair of pliers or a socket wrench or whatever to fit that and this. So, I forgot to get a pair of pliers. Hang on. Okay, now this is where you need your Allen wrench. All right, on the axle there, that is an Allen wrench. It is a 5/16 size Allen wrench. 5/16. That was 5. Yeah. And so what you can do is just stick your 5/16 Allen wrench in this hole. Boom. And then you take a pair of pliers, and or a wrench if you have one that's the right size. You don't want to scratch anything up. And you grab that little nut right there. Clump. And then you just tighten it up. Now, if you don't have an Allen wrench this size, well, then shame on you. You ought to. But if you don't, then you can also grab this thing. You can grab. Dang it. All right. You can grab this part itself with a pair of pliers. It's a little tricky. You gotta have a firm grip so it doesn't slide and get scratched, but you can. But really, a 5/16 Allen wrench is the way to go. Okay, now you don't want to go too tight with it. If you do it just right, it'll spin freely and it won't have any wiggle in it. It'll be just right. So if you get too tight, you'll start to see that the leg itself starts to squeeze in a little bit. But if you go too tight, it'll actually pull this hub up against that washer too strong. The friction will be so great that the wheel won't want to turn. So you basically want to go as tight as you can go without making the wheel get tight. And right there is perfect. Repeat for the other side. Okay, that's done. Now, those other wheels, they're a lot easier. There's just some little holes down here. and that just screws right in it. Bada bing. Okay, I need 2 hands for this, but you get the idea. That screws in there all the way up. Bada bing. They just screw on. What's with the focus on this thing? Anyway, they just screws right on in there all the way up. Now you could adjust the tilt on it, but it'll be fine that way. All right, so now the shelf. This is why I set it on this end instead of the other one, because the shelf's a lot easier to put on from this angle. Okay, the beauty of this is that the screws are already here. They're not on the parts card. They're right here. You take these 5 screws out, and they'll match up with the holes in the shelf. All right, so all you gotta do is lay the shelf, this little side shelf piece here. It comes in a funny looking triangle shaped box. Anyway, yeah, just what is with the focus on this thing? Anyway, you just line it up there with the holes, and you're good to go. There's a hole. All right, and that goes to that hole there. Bada bing. Then just screw it in. Trust me, this is a lot easier than having to get on your knees, or just sit down even, and then try and reach up and get a screwdriver to go in this little angle. It's a royal pain. So put your shelf on now before you stand the thing back up. You'll save yourself so much trouble. Ta-da! Shelf is now on. And screwed on, all 5 screws lined up. It's infinitely easier. This only took me less than a minute. Otherwise, it would take me almost 4.5 minutes or 5 to do it on my knees. So, yeah. Okay, so now the hard part. Oh, man. Standing this thing back up. This is the part we're going to need a helper. Actually, not always. Here's a helpful hint, though. These little small wheels, what's with the focus on this thing? These little small wheels have lockers on them, right? So you mash that down to where it locks the wheel. That way, when you put the wheel down, it won't roll around. It'll give you a pivot point. It's a lot easier to stand it up. All right. Ah, focus fixed. All right. So, yeah. Now I'm going to try and tip that thing this way. Timber! But those legs are going to hit the ground first, see? And since they're not set to roll, it will just sort of tip instead of rolling around away from me. All right, so here we go again with the focus. What's wrong with this thing? Anyway, so watch. When the wheels are locked, it just tips right over. One hand, folks. Ta-da! The eagle has landed. Do not understand why my focus is all crazy, but all right, now the rest is a lot easier. Just little bits and stuff, handles and shelves and stuff. Okay, then unlock the wheels, and it just rolls around. Hurry, please. Piece of cake. This is important later because, well, you'll want to roll it around. A lot easier to work on, too, when it moves. Now, I did say it was a lot easier from now on, but I forgot. There's one more hard part. Oh, boy. Here we go. All right, so, actually, there's 2 more hard parts. Do I hear 3? Whatever. All right, so, next comes this piece right here. It's a little dress-up piece, mostly. And it does serve a slight purpose, I suppose. Besides just looking nice, it helps stabilize things. Now, if you look on the front, there's this little flange that goes all the way across. It's like a little lip. And on the inside of this, when it's upside up, it says Cabela's on top. There's another one that matches, only it's opposite. That just fits right down in there. And you see the legs are like springy and they're clampy like so. That fits on there. That fits on there. Bada boom. And then you sort of tongue and groove match those little other things. And voila. All right. If it only that were easy. It's not that easy. All right. So now there's 4 long screws that hold that on. All right. So you go back over to your parts bag. And here they are. They're marked G. G. Dun, dun, dun. And you don't need any washers or anything with these. They just go into a thing. All right, so screwdriver. Now, the thing about this, I ain't gonna lie, this is the hardest part. Because no matter how good it works out, it almost never works out perfectly. And metal bends, things don't quite line up. And what you gotta do, see, is take this long screw and put it through this little hole on the end, through the leg, out the other hole on the other end, and through the other half of this, which is the U-shaped thingy. Oh, sorry, it's hard to do one. All right, and you got to feel around until you find the... Aha, got it. All right. Don't tighten it all the way just yet, because you're going to need some wiggle room to get the others in. Usually you'll have like 1 or 2, or sometimes even 3 that give you no trouble. But that 4th one, good grief, that's going to give you nothing but trouble. That's why you need extra wiggle room. Right. Aha, another one. I'm 2 for 2. Come on, luck hold. Only a few times has it ever worked out perfectly, all 4 times. I'm just giving you a heads up. It does happen sometimes, but not often. All right, and I see I'm having trouble already. It won't even get on there. Whoops. Okay, 3 for 3. Do I hear 4 for 4? No. No way could I get that looking. Huh! I'll be doggone. Okay, I hope you have the same luck I just did. This almost never happens. Nice, tighten those up, and that's on. Okay, that went on super easy. As you can see, this is all nice and straight, and it's not bowing out or buckling or twisty or anything. And the screws are all tightened up now on both sides. That's good and solid. It's a nice extra brace. Now, I didn't expect it would go on that easy, because it almost never does. When it doesn't work like it's supposed to, what you gotta do is, well, you sort of mash on it. Like, push or pull, adjust, cuss, fight, and scream a while, and eventually you'll get it in there. It might actually help to hold the flashlight under there, have a partner help you out, or even get a long skinny screwdriver, do a pilot hole, and get one of them in there while you hold it sort of straight. Then you get the other one in, see? Then you pull that out, and it'll be a lot straighter. There's lots of ways you can do it, but with any luck, you'll get lucky like I just did, and you won't have the trouble at all. All right, so next. All right, now this particular kind of grill has a peculiarity that I've never seen in any other grill before. Before I get to that, though, before you open this lid and just leave it lying open, this little screw right here in the middle over the door, pull that out. The door holder opener thingy goes there, you see? Don't you love that technical term? Door holder opener thingy. All right. And this is a little triangle shaped piece of metal that, this one right here. Ow. Hang on. Technical issue here. Okay. Sorry for the length of this video, by the way. What takes me about 2 hours to actually do, you're going to see in like about, I don't know, hopefully less than 1 hour. But all right. So there's that slot. There's that little groove. That goes right in there. Boom. And then that goes boom over the hole. And that screw you just took out goes right back in its hole. And just tighten it up. Nothing to it. All right, so then when you hold the lid open, ta-da! It holds the lid open for you. All right. And that's important, because now comes the fun part. All right. Now I've been using a big screwdriver all this time. This one's going to need the smaller screwdriver, little bitty small screwdriver. And if you look, you don't need a flashlight for this, but for the video, I think I'll put it in so you can see better. There's these 2 screws. One's right there, and one's right there. They both have to come out. This funny looking thing has to come out too later, but we'll get to that later. But for now, these 2 come out. All right. The little bitty guys, there's no washers or anything with them, but don't lose them, because They're critically important. Okay, here we go. The heat deflector plate. This peculiar little piece of metal right here is called the heat deflector plate. Now, I have never seen a grill, and I've built hundreds of grills, literally, that had anything like this on it. This is weird. I don't know what it's for. Obviously for heat deflection. Why we need one, I don't know, but we have one. So, it's only on the big model. The smaller version of the Cabela's grill, the 24-incher, doesn't have it. But this one does. Alright, so this notch here on this side goes on the side where the grease trap is. And all you gotta do is line it up right over the hot box. As you can see, these screws will pop out. You don't touch these. Don't touch these at all. But they'll fit through these little holes. And that's all there is to that. Nice and straight, nice and clean. Now, on this end, you'll find two more little screws. They have to come out. The reason is this whole heat deflector plate won't go in one piece. So you have to take the other piece and overlap it here with the other. So let me just get to that. Hang on. Okay, those little screws just came out are just like the other ones I just took out. All right, so now you got the second part piece. The smaller piece goes right in here and it overlaps. And you see the holes, they have to match up, all three. Now, these two on the ends hold the two plates together, and that middle one goes back to hold it all to the bottom. So, basically you just it screws in. Nuts. Okay, so now all three screws are reinstalled across the end there, holding those two parts in. That goes right there. And then the other one, remember those first two we took out? That was the middle one. So one goes there and then one goes right back there. Now the whole thing is secure, it's in place. By the way, make sure one of your screwdrivers is magnetic. Sometimes you drop things and you need a magnetic screwdriver to grab it. For example, I dropped that little screw down in that hole there, and the magnetic screwdriver was a lot easier to help get it out. All right, now we're almost there. Almost there. Next comes all the usual stuff. You know, well, we'll get to that. Hang on. Actually, I kind of lied. Sorry. One thing that sets this grill apart from others is the smokestack. The smokestack, you install it from the inside going out, but you screw it from the outside going in. So basically what you do, you hold it down through here, and it comes up through the hole here, and you grab it, and then you pull it up. One guy can do this. It helps to have two. If you're real lucky, though, like that, the holes will line up. Now there's a felt piece that it's a smoke blocker, and then there's the holes. And if you got it all right, you can get the screws in there without it all falling apart on you. Hey. Okay, this one uses unique little screws labeled H on your parts card. Screw little H. And they're little bitty guys, and they have to go into a little hole. Now, it's kind of a pain because you got to make sure you don't knock it loose when you're getting it in there. Again, this is really best a two-man job. One guy to hold it still, the other one to screw the screws in. Or at least not hold the camera while he's trying to do it. Not a lot of room to screw in near the smokestack. If you have a really long screwdriver, it helps a lot. Because you can screw from way up here instead of way down here. But all right, now I'm going to have to hold this with one hand, pulling up like this, while I screw the screws in so it holds together. You understand? And I suggest you do the same thing, unless you have a friend who can do it for you. Or better yet, push up from behind. Either way. Okay, that went a lot smoother than usual. Usually it's a aggravating kind of thing, but that went good. All right, then you take the cover, unpack that. And that just screws in right there. Now this thing's important. It's not just for looks. The reason it's so adjustable in height is because when when you're actually using this thing, the tighter down and lower down it goes, the more heat it holds in. See, the higher up it is, the more heat it lets out. And as you learn how to use this thing, you'll get the hang of, what height you want. All right. Now, I believe that was it for the hard parts. Yep. The rest is easy. All we got to do is like put a handle on and put the grates in, all that good sort of jazz. Oh, except for that one weird little part I showed you earlier. Yeah, I'll show you that here in a second. Here we go. First things first, though. Okay, the door handle. The screws for the door handle are actually mounted in the door handle in the packaging, see? So they're not on the card. You just pull them out, and they'll go in there. There's no washers or anything involved. So this is really actually very simple. Okay, simple enough. Just screw the screws in, and the handle's on. Yay! Again, remember, the metal that these screws are made out of is a little too soft for my taste, and it's easy to strip them out if you go too tight. So you want to go pretty darn tight, but not so tight that it starts to strip out. And I guess you'll just have to use your judgment on that one. Okay. Next comes the, those things. And what did I do with them? I left them somewhere. Ah, yes, good. All right. The big one goes on first. Now, these things are covered in this cosmoline oil stuff. If you read the directions, which most people don't, you're supposed to fire this thing up and let it burn for an hour or so, or whatever the directions say, to burn off this cosmoline, which then radiates through the whole thing and somehow magically coats it all. But the truth is, after you use this grill for the first time, everything inside is going to be this crusty brown color. Because the smoke is really thick and it coats everything. And it doesn't make a darn bit of difference, except for one. If you wipe the oil off of this thing first, your meat won't taste oily. You understand? Some people will get anxious and they'll fire it up and they'll let it rip and they'll start cooking in it. And I think the chief complaint I get around here is, my meat tastes horrible. It tastes like oil. Well, that's because you didn't wipe your oil off. So, wipe this oil off. Trust me on this one. The directions don't tell you to do that, but I'm telling you to do that. It'll save you a lot of hassle later. Oh, yeah, some rubber gloves help a lot too. This stuff is kind of hard to wash off you. So, hang on. Okay, now when you get to wiping the oil off of your own, you'll very quickly notice the smell. This is not some edible, safe vegetable oil. This is some nasty industrial machine oil, and it's obviously so. And you don't want that in your meat, so wipe that off. And also, I just wipe those off and hey. Yeah, yum, right? Wipe it off. You don't want that getting all up in your meat. So it's only a few extra seconds. You can do it. All right, so now, I only mention that because a lot of people forget to read the instructions and say burn that off first. And then they have a problem. So now you know. There's no excuse. All right. This part goes in here. It should go straight in perfect. Like so. All right, now you'll do it in such a way that these little weird bits are in the front. And those notches there, you see those notches? They're on the left side. Because inside, there's this raised piece. See, I don't know if you can tell, it's black and black. But there's these two little extra raised little humps. And those extra raised humps right there go in these grooves here. See? It holds it all still. Again, need two hands, so hang on. And lo and behold, it's in there. Hard to see, but so as you can see, these little humps are sticking up through that. It locks it into place, see? And if you're wondering, well, that end's higher than that end. Well, it is supposed to be, okay? This is a grease tray, and the grease will, drip off your meat there, and it'll dribble, dribble, dribble down, until whoop, it goes down there into that little grease chute, and that drips down into your, into your grease bucket. For the love of Pete, come on, this is it now. All right, and that hooks right on there. It's a little lip thingy it hooks onto. Ta-da! All right, so Drip, 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 drop, boom, bucket. Simple. All right, next goes the smaller piece. Now the smaller piece lays right there in the middle. And you line it up to where it fits inside these little bits that are welded on, see? And it should only be able to slide a little bit. And that's its job, see? You can shut it off like that so the heat has to come up around your meat. And it cooks like a convection oven. Everything's just hot in here and cooks from all sides. Or you can open the slots up, and where the burner's right below, you got your actual flame shooting up here, and you can flame broil things right here, right above it. Pretty cool, actually. All right, but that brings us to that weird little part I showed you a while ago when we first started. This thing. This is the handle that lets you slide that thing open without burning yourself. Because it gets pretty hot, see? Man, this is hard with one hand. Hang on. Okay, now pay attention to this part. I know you're bored. I know it's been 50 minutes now. Sheesh. But this is important. So, if you look at your T-handle, you see one end has a little screw on it. The other one doesn't. It's going to go screw side down. Like that. Here's a little silver looking screw right here in the front. See? It's a funny little screw. It only goes in part ways. You pull that out. That's your axle screw, as it were. I'm sorry, your pivot screw. It comes out, comes out. All right. And it is only designed to go in partially. Because it goes in your handle like that. See? But not yet. All right, there's a hole in the front. Your T-handle goes in that hole in the front. And through that hole in the handle. And then right back in this hole where you first pulled it out. And screw that back in. And voila. That's there. Make sure it's good and tight because it's easy to work that part. All right, now the other part. All right, now in shipping, this is on backwards. Understand? I don't know why they do it that way, but they do it that way. That's on backwards. So you have to take that out. Oh, for the love of Pete. Hang on. You know what? I'm just unscrewing a screw. Really boring stuff. Hang on. Okay, we're back. Now, once you got that little screw removed from this thing, you look at this part, and you see it's a L-shaped little piece. But more importantly, don't drop that, or drop it, same will say. You see how these two pieces hook together like this, like that? All right, so you put that in there. Then the screw goes. Remember, you took the screw out from this end, but it's going to go back in this end. And then you hook it together. And do that nice and tight too, because this is a part that also tends to wiggle itself loose like crazy. And make sure that your L is pointing down, because its job is to go in the slot right here. See? Then you can just move it back and forth. So, once that matches up, screw it back together, and that's done. Okay, now what you got to put back together again, screw it in all the way as far as it'll go and tight as it'll go. This part lifts up, and that just goes right in there. And bada bing. There's not much room. It only goes about a half inch or so. That's all you need. Just slam it to one side, opens them up, sit it down. That way you don't have to grab a little hot handle and burn yourself. Pretty cool. All right, next is standard barbecue stuff. Just put the grates in, and we're pretty much done. Okay, the grates go right in like any grates would. Pop, pop, pop. They just go on this little lip inside and front and back. Piece of cake. Then you got the shelf. Now the shelf, one thing I like about the shelf on this one is they're adjustable. Normally you only got one spot you can put a shelf. But on these, you'll notice there's a little sticky out thing here. Sticky out thing, yeah. All right, and all on the inner lip here, a little slot. You see? Hard to see, I guess. But anyway, when you put that in there, and getting it in is kind of tricky, I'm afraid. But oh, come on. There. Then you can adjust the front bagness of it just by sliding it up. And all right, so that's it. Anything else? No, that's it. We're done. Finally, yay. Okay, so 55 minutes and 27 seconds, it says. It's taking me almost 2.5 hours. Of course, it's all stopping and starting and stuff. But anyway, it normally takes me about an hour and a half, sometimes more, to do one of these. These are a lot harder to do than regular grills. But the overall, end result is worth it, I guess. All right, the big grills come with 2 of these temperature probes. The smaller ones only come with 1. So if you saw one and you wonder, where's my other probe? It only comes with 1. And of course, there's 2 probe holes on the front here. And there's a probe slot right here. See, a hole. So you shoot your probes through that little hole and then plug them in there. All right, so you got 2 probes and 7 instructions. And that's it. All right, we're golden. All right, that's it. That's how you make... Oh, again, don't forget your serial number. When you want to register the thing, and you do, I guess you want your warranty and stuff, you'll need that serial number. Boom. All right then. Thanks for watching this crazy video. And I know my voice is annoying. Sorry about that. But, oh well, I hope it's worth it for you. All right. Well, happy building, happy grilling.